lasted 4 days in the Long Dark's misery mode, and honestly, my first few days went so well that I thought I might actually survive long term. I found cloth, accelerant, some warm clothes, I had a shelter, and I managed to dodge every predator along the way. Sounds solid, right? Well, let me tell you exactly how my run fell apart. As usual, I spawned in Pleasant Valley by the ruins of the Draft Dodger's cabin. I noticed immediately that my temperature was plummeting. I had barely any clothes for protection, and the overall temperature of the world was doing me absolutely no favors. My first major move was to go to the Pleasant Valley farmstead, hoping to warm up and find some useful loot there. The loot, though, it was honestly really disappointing. And of course, that's also when the first blizzard hit. I knew I was trapped at the farmhouse whether I liked it or not. But honestly, this was all much more of an annoyance to me than a concern, at least at this point in time. A little bad weather, some loot scarcity, it's to be expected. I mean, I've faced worse in Interloper. But of course, this is not Interloper, and the game was just about to remind me of that. The weather finally broke, I hit the barn, scavenged what I could, and it was on my way to Thompson's Crossing that my first permanent affliction hit. Diminished form. If you've played this mode, then you know that that means you just lost a ton of your stamina and it's gone forever. I'll admit, I was honestly really bummed that this hit so hard and so fast, because walking in this game is a lot like watching paint dry but with very high stakes, because you never know when you might come across a predator. And honestly, predators were my biggest concern for losing my run early on. With no flares or weapons yet, I was pretty sure that any attack would be an immediate game over. But while I saw plenty of wolves from far away, I actually managed to avoid dealing with them for a few days at least. The best loot that I found at Thompson's Crossing was the festive sweater and some wooden matches. It let me finally start a fire, cook some of the tiny amount of food that I had, and just warm up. And by this point in time, it was completely pounded into my brain how much I was going to be having to stop to warm up. Because with the temperature outside being as low as it was and my lack of warm clothing, my temperature was just nosediving after even just a minute outside, probably less than that. To go anywhere, to do anything, I was gonna have to plan, and I was gonna have to keep warmth at the forefront of my mind. And I'll be honest, sometimes I like to just go for it and see what happens. And without having very much stamina, knowing that more permanent afflictions were gonna hit me, I was starting to feel a little bit like I was being forced into trying to make a plan. But I fought against it, which was probably a big mistake. At this point, I was feeling annoyed, but I still felt like I was in control of my run. I was gonna go to the mine and then to Coastal Highway, and if I could just get to the mine entrance, the temperature inside would give me a slight break from the constant cold that I was up against. And this plan actually worked. No bears, no wolves, I got a fire going, I even scored some extra loot along the way. For a moment, I was actually feeling pretty good. I was thinking, maybe I can do this after all. Maybe I can get away with having not planned this run at all. But unfortunately, that's not the case. This is clearly a mode where you need to be planning your actions. You need to have a good idea of where you're going and what you're doing, and probably have a plan B and maybe even a plan C, just because it's very, very particular. You only have so much time that you're gonna stay warm. You only have so much food. You only have so much anything that you have to really, really micromanage things, which I did not do well here. And sadly, my feeling of confidence and, positivity, it couldn't last forever. This is the Long Dark after all. After warming up at a fire outside the mine entrance in Coastal Highway, my next goal was to move between the structures of the region, warming up and looting as I went. I was especially searching for food and more warm clothes. My warm-up, loot, move-on routine, it actually worked pretty well until I hit the Quonset garage. That's where my food really started to run out. And I'm not talking about getting low, it was basically gone. I checked every cabinet, freezer, corpse, and container that I came across and came up with pretty much nothing. And this is where misery does something worse than just outright kill you. It plays with your head. If you've played the Long Dark, you understand hunger panic. You stop making smart decisions and you start making desperate ones. And that's exactly what I did here. I started pushing further from shelters than I had any good reason to be going. I was traveling further and further away with less locations to escape too quickly. I was ignoring my gut when it would tell me that I should turn back. And if I wasn't strategizing to begin with, by the time I reached crumbling highway, I was like in the negatives for strategizing. I was running strictly on hope. I was wandering around and hoping that the next container or building would have food and resources in it. And when I finally walked right into a wolf, I fumbled in a fatal way. I didn't have a flare ready despite having 2 in my inventory, and I had no escape route planned. Honestly, I barely even had time to be scared. It was basically just, oh, there's a wolf, and then a second later, oh, my playthrough's over. I dropped my guard, I got sloppy, and the punishment was immediate. All of my initial hard work and patience and efforts, it was all completely destroyed by my own desperation and honestly just straight up sloppiness. I would love to blame the wolf or the survival mode for this, but honestly, this one is completely on me. So, have you tried misery mode? How far did you make it? And more importantly, what killed you in the end? Let me know in the comments. If you have any strategies, particularly around planning and following through on those plans in this mode, please drop those in the comments too, because something tells me I will definitely need them for my next attempt at this. If you like more content like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.